Are we live? I believe we are live.
Yes, we're live.
Okay. Hi, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful day. I wanted to just say that my heart goes out to the animals and the people who have been struggling with the very serious situation of flooding that's happening in my province where I live. It's absolutely devastating. Hundreds, if not thousands, of animals have died or are in not good condition, requiring euthanasia. And the situation is very dire for getting improvements happening fast. So, if you're joining me from any part of those places where you're struggling with a situation where your home is flooded or where your animals are stranded, my heart goes out to you, and I hope that you have some better times coming soon. I know we went through this summer a terrible, horrific time with wildfires that were close to our farm, and we had to be evacuated. So I know what that's like. So if there's any way that we can help you in this situation, just let me know. All right. So sometimes we talk about here about things that are relating to doing with your horse, and sometimes we talk about things that are relating to being with your horse. Today it's about doing, and I want to give you 7 proven ways that I know of, and there's more than 7, but at least 7 here today, that you can move from that phase of deciding to actually doing with your horse. Okay, so there are certain things that will hold us back from doing things with our horse, aren't there? And this is going to help you to cut out those ways of deciding and actually get to the doing. So, hi, my name is Chris Adderson. I'm the founder of For the Horse and Harmony for the Horse. And if you're jumping on live here, let me know where you're coming from and how you're doing with your horse these days. What is it that is stopping you from doing things with your horse? What is it that's holding you back? Put a note for me below as to what is actually stopping you from getting out there and doing things with your horse. And I'm going to go through things here as we go on. And if you're on the replay, also let me know what's stopping you from getting out there and doing things, because I always come back and I will answer. If I don't get them here on the live training, I'll come in afterwards and check for my notes. Okay. So the first thing is that you don't wait for everything to be perfect. If you wait for everything to be perfect, you will never get out there with your horse and get doing things, because it's not going to be perfect. Your decision, if you're waiting for perfection, will change from being an emotional decision to wanting to be with your horse to one of reason. So when you're in that reasoning frame of mind, you're going to talk yourself out of going out there with your horse. Let me know if you have actually ever talked yourself out of going out there, right? There's so many things that you can use to talk yourself out of it, aren't there? And so that's when the complexity starts happening. Rather than just jumping out to it, going to it, you start to go into a turmoil and a complexity and a push and pull of going out and doing things with your horse. All right, the second one is take tiny steps towards your goal each day. These are so powerful. These tiny, incremental, small steps that you do every day are key and a must. And how you do this is a key point to getting this done, is that you need to determine 1 or 2 non negotiables for yourself. Okay. And by non negotiables, I mean things that you know will help you to reach your goal with your horse. Like, I actually have to get out there and ride, or I have to go out and do in hand work with my horse, or it can be anything. I need to lead my horse in the forest, whatever it is. But find for yourself 1 or 2 non-negotiables. And by non-negotiables, I mean also that cannot be changed. It has to happen. It has to happen every day, and it can be as small or as large as you want, but it has to happen every day. And you can, like, it could just be a commitment of 10 minutes. That's all you need. If you commit to 10 minutes to maybe doing in hand with your horse, you'll find that you'll get out there and you'll say you're going to do 10 minutes, but you'll end up actually doing probably a lot more because you get into it, right? I know that happens to me. So these tiny steps, and what's going to stop you from doing these tiny steps? Put for me below what you have in your area that's stopping you from getting out with your horse and doing things. Things like the weather, right? It's too cold. We just have our first snowfall here, as you can see. It's too slippery. It's too cold. I don't have the clothes to keep me warm. I don't have the footwear to help me from slipping, right? Maybe an illness, right, of our horses or us. Those things are always lurking. They can stop us. So you've got to get out there now and not have these reasons or convincing ideas that are going to take you from going out with your horse. What about a tragedy, right? We are all beings that are open to tragedy happening, like the tragic events that have happened in the last couple of days here. Don't wait for a tragedy to happen to make you realize that I better get out with my horse. I can't wait any longer. I know for me, that happened with me when my horse was tragically killed in an accident a couple of winters ago. I had decided years before that to make my program and to build a program. But I actually didn't get out there and do it until a tragic event happened in my life that made me sit up and realize time is running out. I have to do this now. And I developed my program shortly after the death of my horse, who was my top dressage horse. So don't wait for that to happen. What about daylight hours? In the Northern Hemisphere, as we have fewer and fewer daylight hours, maybe you work, maybe you come home from work and it's dark. How do you get around that? How do you hold yourself true to your non-negotiables of spending at least 10 minutes a day with your horse? Well, maybe you don't come home straight for work, but you go to your barn, for example, and you go and work with your horse right away, and then you come home and then you get nice and warm and have your dinner, etc. So there are ways that you can use, you can think up, that you can decide upon that will get you actually doing with your horse. The next one is to focus on the present. So even if your 10 minutes of a non-negotiable is going out and grooming your horse for that day, in that 10 minutes, focus on the present, right? Get your work day out of your mind, or anything that's happening to you at that time. Try to let that go, try to breathe, ground yourself, and be in the present, because your horse is in the present. So you want to meet your horse where they're at and be in the present. Number 4 is to put everything you've got, whatever you do with your horse, put everything you've got into it. So don't do it half-baked or piecemeal. Put everything you got for those 10 minutes into doing that with your horse. And that means eliminating distractions. Okay, we are so bombarded by distractions in our life. So set yourself up so you can eliminate those distractions. You can go out, you can be present with your horse. You won't have distractions, and those 10 minutes will be quality 10 minutes with your horse. And the next one, number 5, is rider self-care. This is something that we all are guilty of not giving ourselves, is self-care. And part of that is taking breaks, right? So although I'm talking about doing with your horse, I'm also saying you need to take breaks. And in those breaks, that's when you can get so much accomplished, because it can be very fruitful to take a break and to sit back and reflect on what you've maybe done over the past several months of your non-negotiables. Reflect on that and then help yourself to go past the plateau that you may be in right now and up to the next level. And the last one I have for you is to study theory. All right. So even if it's only a little bit of theory, it can help you. Take part of your day or part of every second day to study the theory behind of where you want to go with your horse. Is it classical dressage? Is it a trail riding? Whatever it is, study the theory behind that, because there is always theory that will help your deeper understanding. And that's what we have in our program. We have all of these things combined into our program into a multidisciplinary approach, which will help you and keep you on task, hold you accountable, make sure you get your non-negotiables done so that you make progress. And you don't get to the end of the year, which is in only a few weeks, and say, what have I done with my horse? I haven't reached the goals that I wanted to reach. So if you'd like support with any of these things that I've talked about, with perfectionism or non-negotiables, what are your non-negotiables, or how to focus on the present, or how to put everything you have into what you do with your horse, or how to do rider self-care, or all the tactical things that are involved with riding, and the study of theory, then there'll be a link somewhere around this video that you can click on, and we can chat and see how we can help you with what's keeping you stuck in that deciding phase, rather than actually jumping in and getting out and doing it. So I'm going to just check my messages. I know sometimes I miss messages to see if there are any, but if you're in the process of putting in a message, I'll catch it later. And I will not be here next week, as it's a holiday, a weekend holiday, a 4-day holiday for most of you. So I won't be here next week, but I will be here the following week. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Okay, thanks for being here. Bye for now.